Hey there everyone, it's Jenna. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be decorating my living area for the new year, and all of my holiday decor has been cleared out and it is time to just give this space a fresh start. I love doing this every year because I totally forget how I had everything styled last year, and I intentionally don't look back on photos just so I can kind of solve it like a puzzle and just use the same decor I have in different ways to give myself a nice fresh look. So I like to keep things very season neutral at this time of the year because then I can add in things for spring and subtract them, or add in fall things kind of as the seasons come and go, and it's just an easy way to get a clean slate. So that's what we're gonna do today. You all know I love to give you styling tips and ideas as we go along to help kind of give you a guide as you style your space. So I hope you all enjoy it, and without further ado, let's get into the decorating.
Okay, so the first space that I wanted to start with was cozying up our reading corner and styling our console table. And for those of you wondering, I found both the chair and the console at HomeGoods, and I've talked about this many times, but when it comes to styling an accent chair or a sofa, I always love to add textiles with a subtle natural texture. It just really helps everything to feel earthy and organic, which I love. So I showed you all this throw in my last video. It's a dupe for the Pottery Barn textured woven knit blanket, and it's definitely on the stiffer side, but I typically use my decorative throws almost like a sofa cover, so it protects the white chair and just helps to add in that cozy texture at the same time. Another thing that I'm trying to do this year is incorporate lots of earthy brown tones in my space, and this is going to help warm everything up a bit and just keep things feeling very natural. And when sourcing pillows, I love to keep the materials and patterns relatively simple, things like maybe stripes or linen or gauze, just to help give off a more calm and classic feel. I will link this pillow cover below, as well as anything that I can link from this video down in the description box. And then to accent the chair, I always like to have a little spot to set my book or my tea, so I always layer in this antique wood stool. I love the character and subtle texture that all of that distressing adds. So now that the reading nook is all styled, it's time to do some console table styling. And because there's a lot of space between the table and the ceiling, and it's just a large blank wall, I wanted to add something with a lot of height to fill the space. So I grabbed my favorite terracotta floor vase, and I love the organic shape and handmade look of this piece. And again, it just helps to add that subtle earthy clay texture to my space. So in order to add that height and help to bring the feeling of the outdoors inside, I wanted to add a large branch to fill out the space, and you can totally go cut branches from outside for free. But as I've mentioned on this channel before, I just like things to be practical. So I get faux greenery so I can just set it and forget it, and I'm not having to go chop down a branch every couple of weeks. And I found this faux olive branch at West Elm, and I love the casual rustic feel that it gives off. I also think that it looks very realistic, and it's that added height that I needed for this wall. And then to style with it, I grabbed this vintage wood vase that I found at an antique shop, and this is going to solidify that earthy brown color palette I'm going for, while again just keeping the materials very natural. And you all know that I love to style in groups of 3. I think it's very visually pleasing, and this is a trick lots of designers use, so I just popped this woven candle for some added warmth and texture. And now that we have the height established on one side of the console table, I need to add some to the other side to balance it out. And because we don't have any unique architecture in our home, it's very boxy and builder grade, I like to try to add that interest through my furniture pieces. So I love arches, and this arched mirror really helps to add some curved lines to the space and breaks up a lot of the straight lines that we have going on. And another must for me when styling a console is artwork. And in the past, I've used smaller art pieces because our old console was smaller, but now that the scale is a bit bigger with the new table, I needed a larger frame. So I found this one at Ross for $13, and it was already matted for an 8x10 size, which I could easily print out at home, which saves me a lot of money, and it gives me flexibility with the image that I want to use. So I brought it home and I popped it in the space just to make sure the sizing was right, and I love it. It's just what this space was needing, and now it's time to pick out the artwork. And I love to find art that helps to bring the outdoors inside and sticks to those really earthy color palettes. So I always search on Etsy for a digital download that speaks to me, and these are only a couple of dollars, and then I just print them out on this watercolor paper pad that I got at Walmart because the paper has a little bit more texture and mimics a canvas. So I printed out this pretty cloud and field landscape, and then also this wildflower field one because I couldn't decide. So I ended up testing them both out in the space just to see how the colors worked with everything. And while I liked this moody image the most, when I put it in the space, it almost felt too matchy with my color scheme and everything that I had going on. So I tried the flower field image and I liked this one a lot better because it added some subtle blue and green tones to the space. So I just popped it in the frame and secured it with some tape. And I love the casual earthy feel this gives to the space. Artwork is such a great way to communicate your design through an image, and I just love the way this one works with the space. And then last, I always love to layer in some books for a more cozy feel, and these two books are currently my favorite interior design books. There's so much information in both of them, and the cover even has that natural earthy feel that I'm going for. And then just to add a more lived-in look to the styling, I like to use these leather bookmarks from Amazon just to stick in the book and add some extra visual interest, and the leather just really helps to elevate the styling a bit. And leaving just the two books here would look nice as is, but I wanted to incorporate some of those brown earthy tones on this side of the table, so I used this vintage wood bowl that I found while antiquing and I just popped it on top. I also added in these decorative glass beads to tie in that super subtle sagey green color, and I love using decorative beads just to finish off my styling to give it some intentional visual interest. And that's it for this side of the room. I really love how it all turned out and the organic feel that we achieved by using contrast, interesting lines, natural materials, and a subtle earthy color palette. Now it's time to decorate the other side of the space, and the first thing that I wanted to do was swap out this rug. It had just seen better days. Our dog pulled out a lot of the loops and it was pretty matted and dirty, so we got to work by pulling up the old one, and the rug that I found to replace it was actually one of my finds of the weeks that I posted on my community page and Like to Know It. So I bought it for myself. It was a great deal for an 8x10 rug. I think it was like $150, and I was really excited to see how it looked in the space until I started having second thoughts.
Okay, so I'm having a hard time deciding because I originally bought this new rug for this space, but once we flipped the rug around, because this was the side that was sitting underneath that sofa on the other side, so it's all fresh and it looks brand new. So I'm debating if I just want to flip it and then kind of use this till it's run out before getting rid of it, and then later on I can use this. But the only thing is I was really excited to use this, but I also feel like just getting rid of this rug would be kind of a waste because this whole side is still good and it could look really nice for at least another year or two. So that's the dilemma.
So at the end of the day, my frugality won out and I decided to keep the current rug, and then when I'm needing a refresh, maybe next year, I can put down the new one. And it would have been really hard to just get rid of the old one when the other half of it was pretty much brand new. So we gave it a good vacuum and then realized there was a little something stuck underneath.
Oh my gosh, that's so annoying.
No, don't do that.
Okay, we're gonna get it for you, Cone. Get it, go get it. Get it, it's right there, get it. Oh, it was literally just a squeaker.
It's just a squeaker, yeah.
Okay, so now that the rug was all nice and refreshed, I wanted to restyle the area where our Christmas tree used to be over in this corner. So I brought back our side table, and I actually got this from Target years ago, and I love this simple rustic look of it. And then to pop on top, I'm going to use this vintage lamp from the 1920s that I found at an antique shop, and I love the distressing on this and how it helps to add depth and character to my space while also being a practical piece that I can use. And then you all know my go-to is making a little book riser, and I got this book for $1 at the thrift store, and then I also thrifted this pretty linen one, and these are both states that Mike and I have lived in over on the West Coast, so it's meaningful to us while also being budget friendly. And this just creates a nice little riser to pop a vase on, and I love this distressed handled vase and the chippy texture that it adds while perfectly fitting into that earthy brown color palette that we have going on. And then to pop in it, I just used 3 of these greenery stems that I found at Target. I love the natural wispy movement that the stems have, and just to make it feel a bit more gathered, I wanted to mix in some of these berry stems. They tie in with the blue from our sofa, and they're a nice substitute for florals during the winter time. So next I wanted to layer some fresh textiles on our sofa, and every time I do this I realize how much of a difference blankets and throw pillows can make. So I just used my favorite bobble knit throw from Target. I've used this throughout every season, and it's just one of my favorite go-to blankets because of that subtle knitted texture with the pretty caramel brown color, helping to distribute more of that brown throughout the sofa area. And then with the pillows, I always stick to the same formula: neutrals and subtle patterns, preferably with a gauzy or linen fabric. It just helps things to feel really casual and laid back, which is what I like. And all of these pillows are from HomeGoods except for the cognac colored linen one. That one's from IKEA. And this just kind of goes to show you that you don't have to spend a fortune on pillows for them to look nice and elevated. And then the last thing that I wanted to do for this area was add some height and contrast in this corner. So I brought in this floor lamp that I actually found at Ross a while back. It was super cheap. I think it was like $35. And then I used this smart plug that I showed you all in my Christmas video, and this works with an Amazon Alexa, so you can have the lights turn on and off with voice command, which is super convenient. And then I like to style some ottomans in front of the fireplace, mainly just for extra seating when people come over and play games. And I showed you all these gorgeous leather ones that I found at HomeGoods in my last video, but I did end up returning them just because they were very orange. The camera didn't really pick it up as much, but in real life it was a lot more orange than it was brown or taupe. So I just stuck with the ones that I already had, and the navy stripe helps to tie in with the sofa and gives it more of a traditional look. And then I just wanted to add a thing or two to the mantle, and it's always a challenge because of our large TV and how little of space that I have to work with, but I just added a thrifted book for a little riser, and then I used this wooden bowl that I found at the antique shop to layer in that natural earthy material. And one of my favorite types of faux greenery is an air plant. This is because you can keep it out all season long, it looks very lifelike, and it just helps to give off an elevated designer feel. And again, by keeping the materials natural, it just gives off that really calming organic feel. And another natural material I love to incorporate is marble. If you watched my last video, you saw that I scooped this up at HomeGoods, and again, it just helps to add to that earthy brown color palette that we have. And last, I just wanted to add some small decor to our coffee table. This marble tray is such a find for only $25. It looks so beautiful contrasted against a wood surface. And then to pop on top of it, I used this vintage inspired charcoal vase. And since we already have a lot of greenery going on, I wanted to break that up by using these dried stems. They help to give off that rustic look that I love, and they don't compete with the other greenery that we have going on. And when I'm styling a little tray like this, I like to style practical things on here, but I also like to make sure that they're aesthetic at the same time. Like these little wood and marble coasters, just something super simple with all natural materials. I also utilize these bins underneath our coffee table to store more unsightly things like remotes and games, but that's really about it. I love how it all came together with our earthy color palette and natural materials. It's all nice and refreshed for making memories in the new year.
Alright everyone, that about wraps up this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really does help to support the channel. It's a great free way to do that. You can also be subscribed and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. Also, another benefit of being subscribed is that I post at least once a week over in my community page, things like sales, restock alerts, and new arrivals. So that's a great way to be alerted of deals that help to give your space a designer look on a budget. So I hope you all enjoyed this video. I want to thank you so much for watching it. I hope your new year is off to a fabulous start so far, and I will see you in my next one. Bye!